boys, we're in fucking Spain. About to fucking break down this hard loop Shadows from the Tropical Loop Kit. Link in the description. Go fucking download the kit. Alright boys, we're gonna get straight into the video. Remember, join the Discord and Telegram, both linked in the description. Join if you're a fucking G. Alright boys, make sure you stay till the very end of the video. We're going to be dropping mad sauce throughout the whole video and you don't want to miss out on anything. Starting with the piano, we've got the Neglected Grand preset from Analog Labs. Laid down some chords, here's what that sounds like. Alright, so that 4-bar pattern just repeats over. If you do have Analog Labs, Neglected Grand is a fucking sick preset for the piano. It's got a little bit of detune, so when we're making our samples, we use this preset quite a lot, and it gives a whole detuned, spacey vibe to it. Analog Labs is a sick plugin. It's one of the first plugins we actually bought. So if you're thinking of investing in your loop making, your music career, we'd highly recommend Analog Labs. Boys, you can also find endless free analog banks on Reddit, so you're never going to run out of sick sounds. Alright, for effects on the piano, we've got halftime, fruity reverb, and EQ, and fruity flanges. If you don't have halftime, again, you can use gross beat using the half beat preset, and apart from that halftime, everything else is a fruity plugin. So you can make some sick sounding vintage pianos with just stock effects. Alright boys, for the Tropical Loop Kit that we had this loop in, we went crazy on the effects. We've re-rendered the piano and added a whole new bank of effects onto it. So for the new effects, we've got halftime, we've got an EQ. With this piano, we wanted to bring out the mid frequencies, so we took out heaps of the high and a little bit of the low. We've got a fruity chorus, vinyl, which is a free plugin, and it gives it a cool vintage effect onto it. We've got a vintage chorus, effect rack with the old tape preset. This preset's fucking fire. Effect rack in general is just sick. If you want to invest in yourself again, we highly recommend effect rack. We've got a fruity delay and an EQ. This EQ just accentuates those mid frequencies, and we've just taken a whole lot of high end out of it. Alright boys, so we've pitched the piano up 6 semitones. We've done 4 here and 2 here. We don't know what we're doing, but it sounds cool, so we just leave it there. So with the effects, pitch, re-render, everything, here's what the piano sounds like. Our method of getting the sick ambient sound has been first to paint them into the Analog Labs, render them out, effects, re-render, and even more effects. So basically you're processing them twice. You can do this by re-rendering and putting the same effects on or different effects, and for some reason when you re-render them twice they just sound fucking sick. So give that a go. Don't go too far. If you put too many effects and re-render it too many times, it starts to become very low quality. But on this one it turned out nice. It's just a whole lot of trial and error. Alright boys, the next element is a vocal. Boys, we recorded this vocal with this shit mic here in Koh Samui in Thailand in a hotel room. So there's no excuses for not having vocal chops on your loops. However, you need to know how to process your vocals well, so fucking listen. So boys, when we record the vocal chops, we usually pitch the whole melody down about 3 or 4 semitones. So when we re-pitch it up, it just gives the vocal a cool, angelic effect. Because we've been doing these vocals for a while now, we've got our own effect chain that we just put straight into our vocals, and then we fuck with the knobs and get it sounding right for the particular vocal. We start with Little Olsa Boy. So we first pitch the vocal up with the pitch knob, turn the format down to pitch the whole vocal down, but it keeps it in key, so it's lower. Sounds sick. Add an EQ to take out heaps of the lows and just boost the high frequencies to keep it airy and crispy. Of course, auto-tune. You can't fucking do vocal chops without auto-tune. So if you're a bad singer, make sure you get auto-tune, and there's no excuses to not have good vocal chops. So I think auto-tune is about $15 or $20, but you may be able to find it at a discounted price somewhere on the internet. Next, we added a noise gate by using the Fruity Limiter. All this does is just takes out all the unnecessary white noise, so you're left with just the vocal that you want and nothing else. There's a bit of trial and error. I still don't know what all these knobs mean, but basically you just gotta use these 3 until you find something that sounds right. This mic usually does a lot of buzzing when we do our vocal chops, so this is very necessary for us to take out all the white noise in the background. Next, fruity reverb, taking out some of the dries, boosting the wets, keeping it nice and spacey. Alright, with your reverb, make sure you are taking out a decent amount of your dry, boosting the wets. So when you do this with your reverb, it keeps the vocal airy and fits in well with the rest of the mix. Next, we added a delay. We've actually automated the delay, so it only comes in once the vocal chops come out. So you can see with this automation clip, the delay is all the way up, and then as soon as the next vocal comes in here, we drop the delay off so it doesn't clash into the next vocal. So you can try it at home. Alright, next we added an effect rack using the shift verb preset. This gives it super good space and a sort of flangery vibe. Fruity multiband compressor using the warmer preset. So this boosts and compresses the vocal so it sounds more even throughout. Alright, then we added a sound goodizer using the B preset and we turn it down a little bit. This is one of those plugins where you don't actually really know what it does, but it sounds sick when you've got it on there. So we always throw sound goodizer on our vocals. So if you're using FL, make sure you get a bit of sound goodizer on your vocals. Alright, we ran out of effect space on the vocal, so we had to sidechain it to a new track and we added an EQ, taking out more of the lows and just getting that crispy sound at the top, and then also a stereo shaper which just pushes the vocal behind the mix a bit. And with that, your vocals are sounding fucking sick. With all the effects, let's give it a listen. When you're doing your vocal chops, you may need to do 4 or 5 takes. For this vocal chop, we did about 4 recordings and we took the best chops from each section and merged it together into one. Alright, next we added a little string accent thing. This is from Analog Labs as well. It's called Air String 2. We've literally only put it down on one note. We've got 3 effects on this. We've got a reverb, taking out some of the dries, boosting the wets, just giving a bit of space, just like the vocal. EQ, taking out heaps of the lows, boosting the highs. And stereo shaper again, putting it behind the mix. So this works very well for the vocal. It's got a similar vibe to it. Alright, so here's what that accent sounds like. And that repeats over for the second 4 bars as well. Alright, for the second section of the sample, we found a random accent from a kit. It's called synth phrase. We dragged it in and it just fit, sounded sick, so we used it. All we did was add a little bit of reverb onto the accent. Here's what that sounds like. Finally, we added a riser to transition the first and second part. Sounds sick. Super important tip. You can see here we've got 3 sections of the sample before we move into the stems. When you're making a loop and you're breaking up the sections, you almost want to think intro, hook, verse. So when you do this, it will make it so much easier for the beat makers to just cut up the sections and drag it where the hook, intro, verse is. Alright boys, so you finish your loop now. It's time to send these samples out and get some placements. We've got a full video covering exactly how to send out your loops and samples for placements. So if you haven't seen that already, it's going to be down in the description. You guys are really enjoying that video at the moment. There's mad value in there. Finally, International are taking over Europe right now. We're currently in Spain. If you want to see some more lifestyle content, see what we're up to, check out the other videos on our channel. We've got vlogs and studio content from meeting up with other people on our trip. Remember boys, Discord, Telegram, link down below. Join the community. Let's all win together. Here's the loop. It's called Shadows. Enjoy. Thank you.